Today's video will be on scale drawings. So our learning goals for today, by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to convert scale distance to actual distance, you'll be able to convert actual distance to scale distance, and you'll be able to calculate the scale factor. Okay, so key ideas, scale drawings. So a scale drawing has the exact same shape as the original, but a different size. So scale drawings also have a scale ratio. So these are used all the times. So think of Google Maps. If you don't know where to go, you bring up Google Maps. So that would actually be a scale drawing. So the map on Google Maps is exactly what you see in real life. It's just, smaller so it can fit on your phone screen. So instead of being a kilometer on your screen, it's going to be represented in, a centimeter or a millimeter. So maps are a really good example of this. Also, like model airplanes or model boats or anything like that, they're exactly like the real thing, they're just smaller. And we've also got the opposite, so you can actually get models of microorganisms, so like a model of a disease, so that will be made larger than the actual object. So all of these use a scale and a scale ratio. So the scale on a drawing is written as a scale ratio, and we do drawing length to actual length. So drawing length is what we see on the model. That's not an M, that's a W. So the drawing length is the model or the map, and the actual length is real life. So it's the model or the map or whatever other thing it might be, and the actual length is the real thing. So that's how we kind of look at a scale. So it's the model or the map compared to the real thing. So when we convert, if we're going from scale distance to actual distance, we have to multiply. And if we're going from actual distance to scale distance, we have to divide. So you just need to remember that one. So once we convert, we actually have to change the units into more appropriate units if necessary. So for instance, if you're looking at Google Maps, and a distance of 1 centimeter actually equals, 100,000 centimeters in real life, no one actually measures things, that's 100,000 centimeters. No, we use kilometers or meters. So make sure you're using appropriate units. So make sure you're converting between centimeters to meters, kilometers, etc. as necessary. So, if something's 2 millimeters on the map, so if 2 millimeters on the map represents, 200 million millimeters in real life, like that's ridiculous. You don't measure like that. Make sure you've got actual units that are useful. Okay, so a scale ratio of 1 to 100. So remember, our 1 is our model or our map, and the 100 is our actual thing. So that means that a measurement of, say, 1 centimeter on our map equals 100 centimeters in real life, or 1 millimeter on our map means 100 millimeters in real life. So all it's saying is the real length is 100 times greater than what's shown on the map or the diagram or whatever we've got. So the scale ratio of 20 to 1, so 20 means the model or the map, and 1 means real life, means the scaled lengths on the model are 20 times greater than the real lengths. So like I was talking about before, if you've got a model of a bacterium or something, so 20 millimeters on the model might mean 1 millimeter in real life. That'd be a huge bacterium, but maybe pollen or something like that. So it's really helpful if the scale begins with a 1, and then the second number in the ratio can be referred to as the scale factor. Scale ratios that do not start with a 1, we can convert them using equivalent ratios. They're a little bit more difficult, but we can still do those. Okay, so just some key things to remember. So thinking back to some of our previous units on converting between units. So remember that to convert from kilometers to meters, we have to times by 1,000. Meters to centimeters, we times by 100. And centimeters to millimeters, we times by 10. And then if we're going the opposite, we're dividing. So if we're going from a small unit to a larger unit, we divide. So millimeters to centimeters, we divide by 10, centimeters to meters, we divide by 100, and meters to kilometers, we divide by 1,000. Make sure you know this because you'll need to convert your answers. Okay, so let's do some worked examples. So a map has a scale factor of 1 is to 20,000. So that means 1 unit on the 1 unit on your map equals 20,000 in the real life. So find the actual distance for each of these scaled distances. Okay, so our scale factor, we'll state that first. Our scale factor is 20,000. So 2 centimeters on our map, what is that going to be in real life? Well, we're going from the map to real life, so we have to multiply. So we're going to do 2 centimeters multiplied by 20,000. And we'll write our answer there, so that's 40,000 centimeters. But you don't say, oh, I went for a run today, or how far did you run? Oh, 40,000 centimeters? No, it doesn't make sense. So we're going to convert that into something that makes more sense. So, for instance, we'll go centimeters to meters. So we're going to divide, that's a division, divide by 100. So 40,000 20,000 divided by 100 equals 400 meters. So our answer would be 400 meters. So then we just write, therefore, the actual distance is 400 meters. And that's a unit that actually makes a little bit more sense. Okay, then we'll do B. So for B, oh, there we go. For B, we've got 5 millimeters, and we're converting to our actual distance. So again, we're going to multiply. So we're multiplying by the scale factor, which is 20,000. So 5 millimeters multiplied by 20,000 is going to be 100,000. So it's 100,000 millimeters. Again, that's not really a great unit. So we're going to divide that by 10 to get centimeters. Actually, I don't need an equal sign there. Okay. So that's 10,000 centimeters. Again, that still doesn't really make much sense. So rather than 10,000 centimeters, we're going to divide by 100 to get meters. And that's just 100 meters. That makes a little bit more sense. So that means for every 5 millimeters on the map, it's going to equal 100 meters in real life. And we'll do our last one. C, we've got 14.3 centimeters on our map. What's that going to equal in real life? So we have to multiply it by our scale factor. So we're multiplying that by 20,000, and that equals 286,000 centimeters. So 14.3 centimeters on our map is going to equal 286,000 centimeters in real life. Not a very useful unit, so we're going to convert. So we'll divide by 100 to turn it into meters. So it's still 2,860 meters. So we're going to divide by, that's a 60, divide by 1,000 to turn it into kilometers, and that will leave us with 2.86 kilometers. So that makes more sense. So therefore, 14.3 centimeters on our map is equal to 2.86 kilometers in real life. Okay, some more worked examples. So a model boat has a scale length of 1:500. So for every 1 unit on the scale, it's 500 units in real life. Find the scaled length for each of these actual lengths. Okay, so these are the actual lengths. So these are the length of real life. So for the first one, it's 50 meters in real life. What is that going to be on the boat? I mean on the model. So 50 meters on the boat, what is that on the model? So the scale factor of 1:500. So we're going from the actual to the scale, so we have to divide. So we're going to do 50 meters divided by our scaled factor, which is 500. So 50 divided by 500 will give us 0.1 meters. Again, that's not really a unit that we use, so we're going to convert that to centimeters. 0.1. So we're going to convert to centimeters, so we're going to multiply by 100. So that's 10 centimeters. So there we go. So 50 meters on our boat will equal 10 centimeters on our model. Okay, we'll do B. So for B, we've got 75 centimeters on our boat. What is that going to be on our model? So we're going to have to divide by our scale factor. So divide by 500. 75 divided by 500 is 0.15 centimeters. Not a very helpful unit, so we're going to do 0.15 times by 10 to turn it into millimeters. And that's going to be 1.5 millimeters. So that means 75 centimeters on our real boat is going to be 1.5 millimeters on our model boat. And our lucky last question. So we've got 4,550 millimeters on our real boat. What's that going to be on our model? Well, we're dividing by a scale factor, and that equals 9.1 millimeters. And that's a pretty good unit, so I'll just leave my answer like that. Okay, so our third one here, state the scale factor for the following situations. So a length of 4 millimeters on a scale drawing represents an actual distance of 50 centimeters. So we've got 4 millimeters is to 50 centimeters. So we're going to use equivalent ratios to turn this into a scale factor. Now we know with our ratios they have to be in the same units. So we're going to convert 50 centimeters to millimeters. So that means it's 4 millimeters to 500 millimeters. So now we don't have to write units because they're the same. So it's 4 is to 500. And now we just have to simplify that so that our first number is a 1. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. So that's 1 is to 125. So that would be our scale factor. 1 is to 125. So 1 unit on our scale drawing is going to equal 125 units in real life. Clear that. and we'll do B. So an actual length of 0.1 millimeters represented by 3 centimeters on a scaled drawing. Okay, so our scale drawing is going to be 0.1. Oh, I forgot my units, clear that. Okay, so 3 centimeters on our scale is equal to 0.1 in real life. 0.1 millimeters. So we're going to convert, so we're in the same units. So that's 30 millimeters. Why is my pen not working? 30 millimeters is equal to 0.1 millimeters. Now, they are in the same unit, so we can get rid of the units. We can write 30 is to 0.1, but remember we actually have to have things in whole units when we do ratios. So we're going to have to multiply both sides by 10 so we don't have decimals anymore. So that will be, so that will be 300 is to 1, and that would be our scale factor there for our second one. Okay, so that's the end of this video. As usual, any questions, come and see me in class.